Okay, so let me start with the first reason then, and that is having more of an outdoor life. If you remember back early 2020 when I actually started my YouTube channel, that was the same time that I actually went from the managing director of the group to the CEO of the group, which was probably the worst timing ever going into that role, which is a really, really difficult role. Having to run 5 companies there with all the challenges of the pandemic and tenants and everything else that was going on. It was an absolutely crazy time, and I didn't enjoy that challenge, let me tell you. I enjoy a challenge where I actually have some control and there's some logic, but with that challenge there just wasn't logic. People were just trying to figure stuff out as they went along. People were breaking their integrity all the time. It was just very, very difficult to try and figure that out. And you know, for me, moving from a nice big house out in the countryside, which I just love, the clean air, the fresh air, it was just such a great experience, having a few really close neighbors, to actually move into the city. And it was just very, you know, you're on top of everyone, one another all the time. I didn't have a clue who my neighbors were at all. I didn't have a clue. People were coming and going all the time. There was trash everywhere. Oh, well, what's going on with this bird? Did you see that? This bird's trying to land on my shoulder. Actually, let me just share a quick crazy story with you about that. So, got a rental property, long-term tenants just moving. It's in the city, and all the bin men or the trash men have gone on a strike. I don't want to get into the politics of it, of whether that's the right thing or wrong thing to do, but either way, they've gone on a strike. The council are saying that they're already paid a lot of money. They're the highest paid bin men, drivers, and all this sort of stuff. But either way, here's the problem. Last night I went for a walk, and there is trash, just rubbish bags piled up everywhere. The foxes have now got into them, ripped them all open. The birds have got into them, ripped them open. There were rats. I saw 3 rats in my area last night. It's just absolutely crazy seeing all this just rotten food all over the streets and all sorts. So of course the viewings, the people who came from out of town to do viewings on the property, they see all this in the street and they're like, no way. That was the feedback. 6 viewings, and they all said the same thing. No way. The street is absolutely filthy just because of that. Another crazy story then that happened in this same street back earlier, so July 2021, was that really quiet street. That's why I bought the property there. Really quiet street. And yeah, I get a phone call saying, the police, the streets all cordoned off and all this. Some guys from, I think they're from South London, I guess, right, rented a house, 5 of them, were having parties 2-3 times a week. And actually what happened was there was some sort of an incident and someone murdered someone else in the street, in like not broad daylight, but at night time. Everyone heard it, people were coming out. It's just crazy. So of course that's another reason tenants didn't want to stay. So all these things are happening very, very quickly, and I just don't really want to be part of that. This is what I like where we are right now. It's just so nice, so beautiful, so quiet. So this is what I'm really looking forward to again. Now the next point, because I know a lot of people are going to ask this and you're probably going to guess this as the place I'm going. I'm not actually going to the USA. That's what everyone assumes at the moment, that I'm going to the USA. I haven't actually got a visa approval on that yet, just because of the entry requirements to actually get into the country at the moment. So that's going to be a while, I think, maybe a year, maybe 2 years. We'll just have to see how it goes. Okay, and the last reason then is taxes. So the amount of taxes I paid over the last year was so high that I honestly was shocked. I was really shocked. And if you think about it for you personally, most people never think about how much taxes they pay. But if you're in, let's say, the UK, you don't get much of an allowance up to the 20% bracket before you jump into 40%. Now you think you're paying 40%, you're also paying 12% national insurance. But when you go out and you buy items, you're paying 20% in VAT as well. let's say you go and fill up your fuel tank. Oh, guess what? You're paying fuel tax, which is most of it, a little bit of money on the fuel, and then they put the VAT, the value added tax, or as I say, value no added tax on top of it. So you're actually paying a huge amount in taxes all the time. It's just constant. So I paid the equivalent of 73% in taxes over the last year, which is just, I just honestly can't believe it. And the worst thing with the UK is when they do your tax return for you, you have to then pay 50% up front of that next year's as well. So you think you've got a massive bill, well then you have to pay another 50% on top of that bill. So anyway, I save. I have a tax account anyway, so I save and put money into it. But people must get absolutely annihilated when that happens every year and they get that tax bill. Oh, and hey, one other thing I want to say about the UK before people think I'm bashing on it. I actually love the United Kingdom. I love England and Ireland, well, Northern Ireland. Ireland's part of Europe. Scotland, Wales. I really do love the UK. And I grew up here. Even when I was in the army, I spent most of my time here. Did 10 years in the army, as you guys know. I went all around the world, visited, gosh, right now I've racked up almost 70 countries, both through the military and through my own, leisure. And the whole time I've always loved the UK. It was always nice to come back to the UK. One of the things for me, and again, slightly controversial, maybe not, is I just feel as though the country I grew up in isn't really the same anymore. There's so much, people coming and going, so much movement. It just doesn't feel like that same community feel. And that's what I love. And people say, oh, you can't say that. You can't say about, it doesn't feel like a community feel and stuff like that anymore. Or people will be offended. Personal opinion, that's what I feel about it all now. And the saying, birds of a feather flock together. And we've seen that a lot over the last 2 years. It's supposed to be this big integrated society all over again now. But what I see is polarization. I don't see communities bonding together. Now, let me just clarify that. The rural communities, completely different to the big cities. Completely different. They really bonded together, the rural communities. Just fantastic, all the stories I heard. I didn't experience any of that. Being in the big cities, I just saw panic, chaos. When I went to that grocery store, the biggest one in Europe, it's just people fighting over a bread roll and, someone punching someone else in the face over a bag of peas and stuff like that. This is just crazy, and it's because people don't prepare. They wait until a crisis comes along when the chaos hits, and then they take action. And that's what you end up with. And it's just not what I want to be part of. I'm not like that anyway. I'm not a reactionary person. I'm a very, very proactive person. So I'm always being prepared for anything that might happen. That's what this channel's about. It's about getting you prepared, financially, economically, getting your family prepared for all the craziness that we see on a regular basis here. And of course, I think I mentioned briefly the crime, but I'm seeing so much crime now. And again, because we have property companies, rental, sales, etc., I always see a lot of stuff that other people don't see. So I'm going to different areas, I see what's happening, I speak to people in the streets, residents, and it's always interesting when you're hearing things. So I'll give you an example. One street in particular, beautiful, very family orientated street. Over the last 2 years, a lot of investors and developers have been buying up the street, and they've been filling it with asylum seeker houses, and also what are they called? Bail houses, I think they're referred to. So that's people who are out on bail, but they, may have drug addictions or alcohol addictions and stuff like that. So I actually saw this myself. I was in the street and I saw cars pulling up, drug deals in broad daylight. And actually there was a police car one day, no word of a lie. There was a police car one day parked in the street. A van pulls up, does a drug deal in broad daylight. The police see it and they don't do anything about it. And this is the sort of thing that worries me, actually. It's the crime rates. You know that my friends, myself, victims of crime, well, the crime that occurred on me didn't actually happen. We won't say what happened to the guy, but you know, a lot of people now, there's a lot more crime, a lot more petty crime. These things are just getting worse and worse from what I'm seeing. So yeah, even those 10 years in the army where I was all around the world, you know, my home base, 5 years in Colchester, 4 years in Hereford, and then 1 year in central London, which was my last year on doing some projects there. You know, I've always lived in the UK, mainly in England, and I do love the country. I think it's a great country. I just think that maybe some of the policies that have been enacted over recent years are not the best for the people of the country. And I think everything's going to come home to roost fairly soon. I don't think we've got that much longer with this sort of financial system, economic system, the way it is, before everything just starts to fall apart. It's just a matter of time. These fiat currencies, these economies based on trust and belief, they always break down eventually. And that's when we see the chaos and the panic. I'm going to be changing the channel up a little bit once I get into the new house, which will be next week. I'm going to build a new studio in there, which is going to be super cool. But what I'm going to do, I am listening to your feedback. A lot of you are saying that you want shorter videos from me, more videos more frequently, and shorter videos. So I'm going to start doing that, and that will be from February onwards. So just let me know if I'm on the right track with that, and that's what you want. Let me know what sort of videos you like to watch that are short. Is it under 10 minutes? Is it, 15-minute videos, etc.? I will carry on making the bigger production videos, but it'll probably only be a couple a month, because sometimes those videos take 50 hours to actually research, write the script. I've then got to record it. I've then got to edit it, and then I've got to get it uploaded. It's a huge amount of work. And of course, that's on top of running all the other stuff that I do on a weekly basis. Everyone always says to me, I don't know how you do all of that and get it done. And honestly, I don't even know. It just seems to always get done. It's a lot of efficiency, productivity, tracking every last 15 minutes of my time. Doing that all the time, you get much more productive. And that allows me to run all the businesses, the Property Cash Flow Academy, the mentoring that I do for you guys every Monday, link in the description if you want to see about that. Running the private community, a couple of posts a week, a monthly video that's an hour long, teaches you how to invest going forward. The coaching program as well, that's part of the private community Patreon. And I just wanted to say one thing on that. If you have been thinking about coaching, I don't know, maybe you have a small business, or maybe it's a larger business, maybe you're in a job and you want to move in to start your own business, you want to create some side hustles, some additional income streams, I would highly recommend looking at our coaching program. I've been running that. I mean, I first started coaching people in 2013, and we're 2022 now, so 9 years of it. So it's a very, very successful program. It's group coaching. Twice a month on a Saturday. If you can't make the session, it is recorded so that you and those people in the program can actually watch the session back. So apart from that today, link in the description for that. I think that's pretty much everything. The next time you see me, I'll be in a new studio, which will take me a week to build. So maybe not as many videos over the next week or 10 days, but once that studio is built, you'll be seeing me a lot more often for shorter videos every week. All right, well, I think that is it for today. I'm going to take a little walk now for, maybe not so little, maybe an hour. Take a nice walk around here. It's beautiful. And this is what I'm going to be buying for my homestead in the Midwest when the USA finally drops their entry strict requirements, shall we say, so I can actually go in. So I'm looking forward to that. But in the meantime, next couple of years, going to be on this island. So make sure to guess in the comments below, and you'll win a prize. You'll win a heart from me. That's what we'll call it. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care. God bless. Like button, subscribe, See you next time.